This is a relay project.
Real Talk starts right now. Here's Ryan Jesperson.
I want to welcome you to a special episode of Real Talk as we celebrate the best in class. This is a winner's circle edition of the Real Talk Roundtable, as we're going to pick the brains of some of Alberta's top business achievers, startups, young entrepreneurs, those that have been in different business and industry for decades, distinction award winners. We're going to understand what's made them tick, what's led to their success, if there's something special about doing business in Alberta, and of course how they've overcome some of the hurdles that they have inevitably encountered. We're going to be learning more about what makes business happen, generally speaking, and we hope that you'll take something away from this regardless of what you're doing to pay the bills, regardless of what your big dream is, or maybe that $1 million idea. We'll be looking into our live chat on YouTube to get questions from the audience, and of course we always welcome your feedback to talk@ryanjesperson.com. The Roundtable presented by the Alberta Chambers of Commerce in just one moment, but first, this episode is happening with the support of our friends at Alberta's top online real estate school. That's Rello at rello.ca, where better real estate training starts. If you're thinking about getting into a career in real estate, whether it's residential or commercial real estate, Rello's the perfect place to start. They're going to help you get set for your exam. You'll be able to check in with their expert instructors around the clock. They're going to help you through that licensing process, and then make sure you start your career on the right foot. You can read more about what you can expect from Rello by visiting them online, and that's also where you can enter the promo code Ryan100. All one word, Ryan100 will knock $100 off the Alberta residential and commercial real estate bundles. You'll find all of this online at rello.ca. As we welcome back to the program, she has her eye on Alberta business the first Monday of every month right here on Real Talk. Shauna Feth, this is probably a good time to let people know that you and I will be observing the Canada Day long weekend, and we'll be talking Alberta Chambers and Alberta business coming up the following Monday. But of course, you are the president and CEO of the Alberta Chambers of Commerce, and it's nice to have you back in studio. Welcome.
Oh, thanks for having me, Ryan.
Yeah,
fantastic.
You brought some hardware with you today.
We did,
which is pretty cool. And then you've just why don't we just hit the ground running? You've just presented Ayman Ammoura, who's president and CEO of the Driving Force group of companies, with Alberta's Best Business Award of Distinction. This is a top shelf honor right here.
Yeah, it is. So had our Alberta Business Awards of Distinction last week, and we had over 400 and almost 400 entries. So just amazing response, the largest response we've ever had. And so I would just say first and foremost that just to be a finalist, to be in the room last week was a huge honor. And so to have the winners here with us today is just a real treat, and looking forward to hearing their stories, hearing more about their stories. And of course, the Best of Business Award of Distinction pulls together finalists from other categories into the larger award, which is the Award of Distinction. So really excited that we were able to present that award to Ayman this morning, because he was not able to make it. He was out of country last week. So.
Well, he's got a big smile smeared across his face, so this award must mean something. I'm going to allow me to officially welcome you to Real Talk and congratulate you on this honor. I think everybody has seen the Driving Force brand around. This is a big brand, and I just, based on what I've seen as a civilian, somebody not in the business, somebody not in the auto business, I said to you, isn't this where like Suncor and Syngenta and these big companies go when they need like 150 pickup trucks, and you go, yeah, that's our wheelhouse?
Absolutely right. First of all, this is a great honor. We are so thrilled. It so happened 2 days ago we had our annual staff meeting, and we had 60 of our senior leadership team, and I shared the news with them, because these are the people who won this. It's such a great honor to have this.
How many employees at the Driving Force?
Around 600.
600. It started
people.
In the 1970s, right?
78, March of 1978. Not that I'm counting, but 46 years.
Yeah, you haven't been a part of it the whole time, have you? You
No.
were like 10 years old when they started?
I've been at the Driving Force since 2007, so I'm approaching 17 years. Where did the time go? Just goes fast.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to understanding more about what you do and what being situated and doing business in Alberta has meant to the driving force and vice versa. But let's also welcome to the program another panelist here on this Real Talk Roundtable, Kevin Fritz, who's the CEO and co-owner at Fritz Tiny Homes out of Devon. Devon's punching outside its weight class, I think, when it comes to business lately. And Fritz Tiny Homes is just one of the coolest businesses we've seen going. I follow you guys on Instagram just because I love what you're doing. And the name kind of explains it, Kevin. But can you tell our audience that they might not be familiar with what you guys do?
Yeah, man. Hey, this is really cool. Thanks for having us out.
Happy to.
Yeah, we're really excited what we do. We build just high-end, small homes, small spaces on wheels, modular, and we ship them all over North America with dreams of getting it further than that. And it's just been a really exciting business for us to launch. It's our first time stepping into the business world on our own. And it's
Is that right?
Yeah.
What were you doing before?
I was building, or I was in a company doing high-end stair and railing for 12 years. I was a carpenter. I was in sales and project management. Before that, Heather and I were young newlyweds building a house for ourselves, figuring out, reading the 1, 2, 3 plumbing for dummies and figuring out how to build a house. And so, yeah, I'm a jack of all, but I spent 12 years in the stair and railing industry.
Wow. So like some people, married couples or people that are dating, they go to like put an IKEA bookshelf together and they end up breaking up. You guys instead decide to build a house together and then go into business doing that a whole bunch more times. What's the secret to making business work with family?
You know what? I like her, so that's a good start.
She likes you too. I hope. Yeah.
We tend to end up together. It's been a theme for us, and it's inspiring and it's motivating. So when we literally got married and we're clearing brush on our property after we got back from our honeymoon. So that's all we've ever known is working together, and that's what we know. That's what we do.
You've been, and I'm showing our YouTube audience your Instagram here right now, where they can get a sense of the size of the homes that you build. What square footage are we talking about here?
Oh, it's funny. I get asked all the time. I don't know. I don't talk in square footage.
Okay. How do you
we always
them?
say not every square foot is equal. So we measure by width and length. So our smallest one, the very first home I ever built in my backyard, was 8'6" wide by 24 feet long, 13'6" high. So it was classified as an RV, and it was the smallest thing we ever built. In our model lineup now, the smallest we build is 8'6" wide by 28 long. Our biggest one right now is 37 by 10'6" wide, and we have even a longer version, a couple feet longer than that coming out. And then we've done modular, where we're kind of coupling buildings together, and it starts to get kind of creative that way. So
cool. You've won. Fritz Tiny Homes wins the Global Growth Business Award of Distinction. I've got some numbers here relating to your business. Pretty fascinating. You are an export business. Almost 4 of 5 homes that you sell are leaving Canada.
Yeah, it's wild. We build homes, but it's entirely portable, so the world is open to us, and it's a pretty fun thing for us. We get to travel a bit. We get to meet people from all over the place, and it's exciting.
Ayman, how much of Driving Force's business is happening in Alberta? How much of it is across the country? How much of it would qualify as international?
In Alberta, I would say about 35% right now. In Alberta, remember, not too long ago, maybe 15 years ago or 20 years ago, 100% of our business used to be in Alberta. Slowly looking for ways to make sure our company is resilient. We started expanding. Now we're in BC, but 35 is here. And we are putting more focus out east right now. Yeah,
is that like, obviously you talk about resiliency, diversification. Is that like, I would imagine you don't want to be in a position where, let's say you're supplying thousands of, hypothetically, pickup trucks and flat decks to the oil field, or what happens, and then oil dips, and then all of a sudden your business dips. They don't need the trucks. All of a sudden everybody's in trouble. Is that the idea?
Absolutely right. Just to put it in context, our founder in 2008, he decided we need to be in Vancouver. It just because of diversity. Nobody really understood why. So we opened a shop there, and we lose money for all of 2008. 2009 comes, we're still losing money, and we're sitting there in the boardroom talking to us, said, maybe it's time to unplug. And he says, no way. Failure is not an option. We will persevere. So we did that. Company picked up, and then when the oil collapse happened in 2014, I would like to just make sure you know, without our presence in BC, it would have been really, really hard for our company.
Wow.
It would have been incredible.
BC saved your bacon a little bit this year.
100%.
Huh.
Yeah.
Shauna, with the Alberta Business Awards of Distinction, it's amazing to look at the Chamber's numbers. You received 375 nominations this year, which is a record amount. 40 finalists across 13 award categories. I would imagine through those 375 nominations, 375 completely different stories. So I probably can't ask you a question like how many of the members or how many of these nominees are doing business exclusively in Alberta, how many are export businesses, because they're spanning almost every industry.
They are, and I don't actually judge all of the awards.
Yeah.
So, but we do have our fantastic sponsors judge the categories, and it's a completely blind process. We use Awardify, the online platform, so it's completely neutral. There's no attribution, and so it's a very democratic process in terms of how they're chosen.
With what Ayman's talking about, or even what Kevin's talking about, have you seen a trend there of Alberta-based businesses looking to diversify, to broaden their reach, to expand their offerings, whether that's geographically or otherwise? Is that a trend across businesses?
Absolutely. I think that's always the dream, isn't it? To be able to grow and diversify into new markets, new economies. It's what every entrepreneur wants to do is just keep expanding. Not many entrepreneurs like status quo, so it just tends to be the way just the way they work. Yeah.
Can you, Kevin, with Fritz Tiny Homes, can you think of a moment? People are always interested to hear like when the business kind of hit that next gear, hit that next level, or when you knew it was viable or overcame a great early challenge. Was there one in particular that really jumps out?
Listen, man, I have a couple sexy answers for you, but the best answer is honestly, it's like getting out of bed in the morning, like every day, and just grinding. It's just a grind, and like that's the biggest decision you make as an entrepreneur. It's just like getting back to work and doing it. We've had some fun stuff happen. I mean, I was building a house in my backyard. I quit my job and I was like, I'm gonna build tiny homes, and not having a clue how to run a business per se, not exactly knowing how to build tiny homes per se. And we started building this home, and Heather's telling our story on Instagram, which is her first time on Instagram even. She wasn't even like on social media. So she starts telling our story, and we start getting all these phone calls, and all of a sudden we get a phone call from a magazine called Dwell Magazine. And I'm an outsider. I don't pay attention to architecture and tiny homes, so I didn't know what Dwell Magazine was. And apparently Dwell Magazine's a big deal. And we were busy, and we kind of like blew them off a little bit. And like apparently accidentally played hard to get, and they kept coming back. And so we ended up doing this interview. It was a lot of fun. And they wrote this piece, and it trended on the Apple News app. And my aunt and uncle in Oregon are calling, wondering why I'm showing up on their phone. And we got like, I just spent the day just emptying my voicemail box, just trying to keep it. I couldn't answer the phone. I just kept it empty. We got, thousands of emails, and it was kind of us being like, wow, I guess people are liking what we're doing. And so it was affirming at that point. And so that made it easier to get out of bed the next morning, right? So that was a fun moment for us. It was the first real hint at, I guess, what the world might look at what we're doing. And that was exciting.
That's cool to accidentally play hard to get and have it work out.
Oh yeah,
as
totally
opposed
ignorant.
to blowing up in your face.
Yeah,
because it
totally
could,
ignorant.
right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, we as a business, we've tried to be outsiders a little bit. We don't want to copy anybody. We don't want to follow there's a reason that there's a path. When you say we're going to get to this place, there's a path, there's a beaten trail, and usually it's because that's a good path, right? But if we want to innovate, I always feel like sometimes not knowing where the path is you're gonna wander out in the wilderness. You might find a worse way of getting there. You might find a better way of getting there. But I feel like what you're gonna find is original. It's gonna be you. It's gonna be exciting and inspiring. And if it's inspiring to us, maybe it's inspiring to other people too.
Fascinating. I love it. I mean, you're steering a big ship, man. 600 employees. You guys have been around since the 70s. Everybody knows the brand. How do you, as a leader, navigate some maybe uncertainty or innovation or changes in trends in industry? I'm thinking of like EVs. That would factor into the types of trucks that you're bringing in, or obviously big decisions there. What about autonomous vehicles and driverless vehicles and all that kind of tech, changes in the oil sands? I mean, these are all big, huge things that I would imagine as a company, you can't be reactive to. You got to have a plan. How do you stay focused with a company this big?
Really good question, Ryan. It's really important to remember that I'm not the only one steering the company. I am so blessed and lucky to have the best team in this world. Our people are so incredible, and the trick is to make sure that the people around you, they are masters in their craft. They really enjoy what they do. They are very experts, and they have fun every day doing it. So these are the people I rely on heavily to make sure that whatever area of expertise it is, just give guidance and let them run with it.
So what I'm
Stay
hearing
out
from
of
you
our-
is
their
that
way.
hiring is incredibly important.
It is so important, not only for the required skill set, but for the absolute best fit within the team. We do a lot of assessments on personal traits to make sure that these folks are going not to only succeed in their job, but they are going to help in the success of the people around them. So this has become really, really critical.
I love it. We have a chance to check in with a couple of your colleagues in the winner's circle here. If you're just tuning in, live streaming the audio on the Mixler app presented by California Closets. This is the winner's circle roundtable presented by the Alberta Chambers of Commerce on the heels of the Alberta Business Awards of Distinction. Kaley Beisiegel is a principal consultant at Bird Creatives in Calgary. She and her team have just claimed and won the Community Attraction Business Award of Distinction. And Kaley's joining us remotely this morning. Congratulations on the honor, Kaley. What does it mean to you as an entrepreneur and as a business owner?
Well, thank you so much for having me. I hope you can all hear me okay.
Perfectly.
What does it mean? I think it just reaffirms that our relational approach, being really people-focused, people-centered, it works. And I always believe that, success in business didn't have to always be competitive and at the cost of someone else's success. And so really rooting in those values has really translated to our team and into community and the projects that we do. And so, yeah, it's just, it's a good feeling to know that you're onto something, and staying true to your values can have positive impacts and success.
People can check out what you do at birdcreatives.com. Creative strategy, event management, marketing and communications. Sounds like an obvious thing to say, but you have to know what you're doing in this field. Marketing without strategy is completely ineffective. Communications gone wrong is a disaster. Event management without an understanding of what works and what doesn't can be a real problem. What's the secret sauce, or what's been the secret to your success?
Well, I think in all the projects that we do, it really does speak to those three business lines and how they work together. So we get really excited when we get called in to not only work on the strategy behind the initiatives of our clients and the communities that we work in, but when we get to actually implement those strategies through strategic events, through the marketing and communications. And for me, I love efficiency. I love getting things done. My clients always say, they're like, what we love about Bird is you actually do what you say. So, it's great to have a strategy, but a lot of the times, like if it sits on a shelf, it's not going to have the impacts that you want to see in community. And so we like putting those strategies to work, getting the rubber to the road, and then being able to actually measure what the impacts of these great ideas can have in community when you're committed to the actual implementation of them. And so, it's just, we love what we do. And, whether we're plugging in at any one stage, if it's the strategy or implementation of, or the marketing and comms of it, we're kind of happy to play and fill gaps wherever we're needed.
There's a lot of people in that space, right?
Yeah, I would say so. But I think what differentiates us is really that relational approach. One of the best compliments that I ever received from one of our clients, Patty Pon at Calgary Arts Development, was that, we really listen to the community. We listen to the clients to hear what they believe, what they think. And then we try to reflect that back in the work. And also the other thing she said is like, Bird never pretends to know what they don't know. And really speaking to that relational approach, we believe in the power of collaboration, the power of community. And so, more minds is better than one, which also speaks to our own internal team approach. We're calling on the strengths of each other. We're calling on the strengths of our community members, the diversity of that community, the different perspectives that are available to have the best possible outcomes for the widest group of people.
Yeah, I'm looking at your portfolio. You've done obviously a ton of work in your home province, our home province of Alberta. Campaigns with Travel Alberta, Rise Up Calgary. That Chinook Blast was a heck of an event. I think you drew more than 40,000 people to that, didn't you?
Oh, it's well over that. I think
Yeah.
this year alone it was 400
What?
and the end number was 33,000 people over 3 weeks.
Oh, geez, that's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
so
Is
talking
there?
about harnessing the collective,
Yeah.
the power you can have when you work with multiple partners. We worked with over 1,000 artists, community partners, businesses to achieve those results. So even when I'm here talking about the success of Bird, it's not the success of, Kaley, principal consultant at Bird. It's the whole team at Bird, the communities that we work in, all of our co-conspirators, collaborators in community that get these results to the finish line.
Is there something, I'll ask you this in closing, and thanks for joining us from Calgary. Is there something about doing business in Alberta? I mean, these are the Alberta Business Awards of Distinction that creates obviously unique opportunities. Is there a bit of a different culture? People oftentimes talk about kind of the entrepreneurial culture here, that kind of a spirit. Are there some unique challenges about doing business in Alberta? What have you learned?
Oh, unique challenges. Well, what have I learned? It's really interesting because I think, especially in the creative space that we work in and the creative economy, which is really the passion that gets bird ignited when we're excited about a project, is really within those creative industries. So, but I think Alberta sometimes gets a bit of a bad rap on that. And it's so interesting to me because whenever you hear about people talking about these creative hubs like Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and then, people sometimes, I think, just maybe different, politics or I don't know what it is, but everyone I know in Alberta, Edmonton, Calgary are super creative, super entrepreneurial, super collaborative. And maybe that's just within the networks that I work. And so I've always felt really supported to, try radical experiments with radical intent, or small experiments with radical intent, and doing things differently. And I've always had that encouragement from my hometown of Edmonton, Alberta, to my new home of Calgary. And I've never come to a table with a new idea and had the partners. I mean, sometimes they look at me like I'm a little crazy, but there's always this willingness to try something new, not rest on your laurels and assume that the old way of doing things is the best way of doing things. And I've really been able to feel that support. And so I think it's a really exciting place to do business. I think maybe just, sometimes people's misunderstanding of what Alberta has to offer, especially when it comes to creative industries and creative entrepreneurs. Maybe that's a challenge that we're always trying to overcome when looking to do business in other places. But I think what we're doing is really special, and we are getting the attention of other jurisdictions, municipalities, about what's happening in Alberta. There is something really special about the collaboration and the collaborative approach that's going on there, and also the strengths that we have by collaborating as two major cities in a province. And I think that's something that's really unique about Alberta.
Kaley, congratulations again on your Community Attraction Business Award of Distinction. That's Kaley Beisiegel, Principal Consultant at Bird Creatives out of Calgary. You can check them out, birdcreatives.com. We'll talk to you again, Kaley. Thanks for this.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, you've got to love hearing that, hey?
Yeah.
I mean, is that kind of a common refrain regardless of industry, just that kind of spirit? People talk a lot about the spirit in Alberta, don't they?
Absolutely. I think it just goes back to, those basic Alberta values and our just incredible ability to collaborate with each other and work together as communities. And, that's really where the Alberta Chambers of Commerce comes into play is, we have 108 local community chambers that are supporting entrepreneurs and that entrepreneurial ecosystem across the province. And it's just it just makes me smile. This is one of my favorite favorite events that we do, because we get to hear these fantastic stories of innovation and creativity, and just all of the fantastic things our businesses are doing across the province.
I want to let people know that's, by the way, Shauna Feth, of course, if you're just joining us, President and CEO of the Alberta Chambers of Commerce. You can check them out online at abchamber.ca, learn more about where members matter and benefits count. But your team has been on it on the content side. You can check out the Alberta Chambers of Commerce YouTube channel if you want to watch their pre-event red carpet. They've got a whole bunch of interviews there talking to some of the nominees and ultimately, of course, some of the winners. And then if you go to abbusinessawards.com, we'll link to this in the show notes. You can check out the gallery from the awards show and see all the winners there. When we come back from a brief break, I want to ask Kevin from Fritz Tiny Homes, and I want to ask him on from the driving force about that same question about doing business in Alberta. Is there something, I mean, these are two very different types of businesses, different numbers of employees, but are there some common themes? Plus, we'll dip into our live chat and see what you have to say. This episode of Real Talk is happening with the support of Canada's Open University. That's Athabasca University. You'll find them online at athabascau.ca, where you can learn more about their programs and courses, including that Athabasca U MBA that I'm seeing more and more people talk about. You can open up your options with the online offerings at Athabasca University. That means the only commute is going to be to your device. Look at these numbers. I mean, you want to talk about proof of performance? More than 92% of AU alumni say that they're working in a job related to their field of study. Not every university can say that. 92%. Are you kidding me? The AU advantage starts at athabascau.ca. And our friends at Complete Care Restoration want to remind you, if your summer goes a bit sideways, you got a small renovation project, all of a sudden you discover black mold, or you realize you're dealing with asbestos, maybe there's a sewer backup, or heaven forbid, wildfire hits your community. They've got more than a quarter century of experience restoring properties and rebuilding peace of mind with professional, certified individuals, specialists in their field, ready to respond 24/7. You can contact them today with emergency services available at completecarerestoration.ca. We're celebrating the Alberta's Business Award of Distinction. These award winners here, Ayman Ammoura joining us, President and CEO at the Driving Force Group of Companies, and Kevin Fritz, CEO and owner of Fritz Tiny Homes. We're going to check in with Alana Tollenaar in just a moment as well at a Spruce Grove from Backyard Birds Nature Shop. I love that. Those are the types of shops I just go into to like chill out, just listen to the birds chirping and that kind of stuff. I love those businesses. But we're talking, of course, specifically about Alberta. Ayman, is there something strategically you've talked about? Obviously the calculated moves to broaden the company's footprint across the country and et cetera. Is there an inherent advantage from a business standpoint, like stuff coming across your desk, to doing business in Alberta, to being based out of Alberta?
Absolutely. The favorite line I always remember from our founder, he always used to say, we are in the best city, in the best province, in the best country in the world to do business. And when he says that, he was referring to the ability to have readily available entrepreneurship spirit. And the number of resilient business partners that we work with all the time. So we became accustomed to that, and you don't really notice what you already have unless you have an out-body experience, and that came in the form of our expansion to Houston, Texas. So when we started expanding into Texas, that was told to us over and over again, oh, you're Canadian from Alberta. We absolutely love your people. We absolutely respect every employee that comes in from Alberta. And we obviously ask, well, why do you say that? And we have incredibly skilled people that are highly careful in their approach. The nature of the boom and bust that goes with the oil business, it creates very resilient, resourceful businesses that are looking for high level of adaptation because things go good and bad. So you're always thinking ahead, planning ahead. That created something that does not usually have inconsistent, easy flow where everything year round through 10 years does not vary very much. So this is something very special to Alberta. Being adjust very quickly. What are we going to do about the future? Are we thinking ahead? are we innovating enough so that when the bust comes, what are we going to do? It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah, no kidding, to say the least. How about you, Kevin? How about with Fritz Tiny Homes? I'm curious to see how you answer this, with considering how much of your product you export. Why does it make sense? I'm assuming it does because you're here, for you to do business in Alberta.
Well, Alberta's home, man. It always has been for me. So ultimately, we work where we live. We want, in fact, when we started our business, we wanted it to be around our kids, around our family. We wanted them to see us work. And so it's really similar to what Ayman is saying. I mean, you saying you have about 600 employees. We have 16 full-time employees. And
that's
to me,
still a lot, man.
Oh yeah,
That's a lot.
It's shocking to me some days when you pull in, like, man, this parking lot is full. And it was I never imagined that was going to happen. And so it was funny, in the acceptance speech at the award ceremony, my friends were giving me a hard time because I said some comment about, like, it's pretty cool that we have these homes being built in Alberta with all these Alberta fingers all over them, getting shipped all over the world. And we think that's pretty fun. Like, we are sending Alberta talent and Alberta creativity and ingenuity, like, all over North America. And to me, that's exciting. But it's exciting that, we have, like, such a fantastic team. And so, like, our best resource that we found in Alberta is definitely the people. And the team that we have built, like, we're proud of a lot of what we've done. Like, we're proud of our homes, really proud of them. We're proud of, like, winning this award. We're proud of that. And we said it a bunch, and we're honest about it. The proudest thing we've built is our team. And so it's been, it's allowed us to do everything we've done to this date. It's allowed us to have our life back as young entrepreneurs when you grind and grind and grind. And then all of a sudden you bring people in who are, talented and passionate and take a bit of that burden of ownership, even though they don't have to, but they do it anyway. And that's, for us, is very exciting. So that's what we love about Alberta.
Are there some disadvantages to doing business here? Are there other, just because I'm just curious, in the small home, I don't know anything about what do you call it, the tiny home industry? Like the small home, I don't know anything about it. Like, I would imagine one municipality may have different rules than another municipality. Can you just drop these anywhere? What's that angle of it like?
Yeah, I mean, Alberta is not super friendly to the tiny home as far as, like, tiny home on wheels, sort of, as far as placement to municipalities and legalities with that. I'm glad that there's places in North America that are really friendly to it. Allows, first of all, those people who want these things, who want to use these buildings, it allows them the opportunity to do it, and allows us the opportunity to sell it to them, of course. There's a lot of, if you don't like the rules where you are, just walk across some county line and the rules will be different. And it's a challenge in our industry. I think it's a big reason why a lot of the industry is going to start to move towards the modular end of things. There are a few more clear-cut paths forward to get small buildings into places. But it's always a challenge. You're always trying to forge a path. For the most part.
Help me understand then. So is this where, like, the CEO of the Alberta Chambers of Commerce goes, I sense an opportunity to talk to the minister of whatever, or the appropriate, I mean, is this where the chamber comes in? You hear something like this and you say, I think that this is where the chamber and a benefit of membership might be, that sort of lobby angle, that influence angle that a chamber has?
Yeah, definitely the advocacy side of it. In fact, the president and CEO of the Leduc Chamber, who also runs the Devon Chamber, her and I have actually had this conversation about your business in the past.
Was that right?
In terms of Jen Garys, who's the president and CEO there. The thing is, the reality is, it depends on which level of government you're lobbying to. And so in these situations, it would be our local chambers that would take that on, and at a municipal, that's right. But if there's anything provincially that we could be taking a look at from an advocacy perspective, absolutely, we're already having those conversations.
Awesome. Well, why don't we check in with another award winner here in Spruce Grove. This is Alana Tollenaar, owner-operator of Backyard Birds Nature Shop, and they've just won the Young Entrepreneur Business Award of Distinction. That's got to be exciting. Alana, congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. I'm just checking out. I was telling Shauna, I love businesses like yours. I love going into nature shops. It's just like a way to be in the middle of a city and step away and remind ourselves of the benefits of attracting birds to our backyards. But this is your business. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so I opened Backyard Birds in 2021 because I had graduated university and no one was hiring for any kind of environmental education work, anything like that. So I decided to make my own business and do my own thing. I always knew I wanted to educate the public on nature and the outdoors. I grew up with a dad who was a zookeeper. He worked with birds of prey at the Edmonton Valley Zoo. And so I've always had that love of nature, and I was just really excited to be able to share that with other people, because I think you protect what you love, and conservation has so many aspects to it. But I think where my business and where my role and my career comes into things is inspiring people to love nature and the outdoors, and then in turn, hopefully that makes them want to care about it, protect it, advocate for it. And yeah, just enjoy it.
Oh, I love that. I don't even know your dad, but I'm picturing, was he like the guy that would come home with the big leather glove on and some wild falcon that no one would want to really get close to? Is that your dad's style?
Yeah, except everyone wanted to get close to it, of course, because it was usually owls. We had baby snowy owls in our house growing up, kookaburras, all sorts of different creatures living in our home. And I think that's really what inspired that love of nature, and birds especially, was just being exposed to his career and seeing the intimate connections that he had with these natural creatures. I remember how he would present to the public and say things like, did you know, if we had the same proportion size eyes as an owl, our eyes would be as big as grapefruits. And I always thought to myself that that's crazy. That's gigantic eyeballs. And like things like that just stick with you. And I was always in awe of how he was able to connect with people in that way. And I wanted to be able to do the same.
Well, it's obvious that the passion is there with you, and that's I would imagine that's probably a big part. I mean, aside from all the hard work and the grinding it out as an entrepreneur, like I'm just looking at your website, backyardbirdsnaturesshop.ca, like you carry the work of over 130 vendors and artists from across the country, which is absolutely amazing. So obviously you're grinding, you're working your butt off, but like how much, as we recognize the context of the award you've won, the Young Entrepreneur Business Award of Distinction, what sets you apart from all of the young people? You come across like, you obviously have a good handle on what you're doing. You're obviously very accomplished in what you're doing. Your business is successful. As a relatively, or let me say, in the relatively early stages of your career, how much has passion factored in, and what else is kind of part of your secret recipe?
Oh man, it's just a lot of work. It is. I've always been someone who really values hard work and achievement. Like I like to get things done. It's always about how can I improve this system? How can I take this business and make it better? So I think it is a lot of passion, but also I'm at a point now where I have a team of about 6 staff. So it's their passion too. They've really taken my business and helped make it their own as well. And they bring their own passion and interest into things. So I think I think actually a lot of people said this at the Alberta Business Awards was surround yourself with people who have that same drive and passion as you do, and that sometimes they're even more qualified than you are. And I've worked with so many amazing people along the way to get me to where I am. But it's also about relationship building. I mean, as you said, I have over 130 different vendors. That's actually an old number, and I have to update it on the website. We have over 150 vendors from across Canada now. Yeah.
So do they? How do you find them? Are you? Is it like trade shows? Are people reaching out? Is there a community of bird lovers and entrepreneurs? I mean, how do you build to your stock? How do you add to your roster, so to speak?
It's a mix of things. I'll find them sometimes. Sometimes it's social media. Sometimes I see them at actual markets. Sometimes they reach out to me. Sometimes there is one trade show. There's only one bird trade show, which probably doesn't surprise anybody. Actually, it might surprise you that it exists at all. But yeah, there is a trade show down in Missouri. It's feeding is a little bit more popular in the States, but it is popular in Canada too. It's the second largest hobby in all of North America. So I knew I was getting into a good market.
Bird feeding is the second most popular hobby?
Yeah.
What's number one?
Gardening.
Gardening and then bird. Well, they kind of go hand in hand, don't they?
Exactly. Yeah. So the outdoors has got the market cornered for
Amazing.
hobbies, which is really cool.
I love it.
But yeah, like I was saying, it is relationship building. I can't run my store without having good relations with all of those 150 vendors. They're all individuals trying to, do the best they can for themselves and their families. And I think that my kind of like down to earth nature really helps with that. They all, love coming into the store, love providing their products, and just being in a part of a community where that's what I'm looking to do is foster that creativity and bring people, like-minded people together.
Well, I think you've got some customers here in our YouTube live chat, because Lauren is commenting on, he says the aura of your staff and your shop is amazing, which is a cool word to hear when somebody describes a retail location. You don't oftentimes hear people talking about aura. And then we have Tracy here trying to put two of our panelists together in a collaboration. Tracy is pitching tiny homes for birds. What do we think? Is there an opportunity here? Is there a market for luxury tiny birdhouses?
So these are just birdhouses we're talking about, right?
I think
this might have been done.
But I think people are, because people have been looking at your website that we keep showing, which is like stunningly beautiful homes, and I think people are wondering, could the and geez, Alana, I'm getting all tied up when I try to think of a single species they'd want to attract. But I've always wanted to attract hummingbirds. I know that's not, you don't use the tiny home for that. I'm aware of how that works. But let's say you wanted to draw cardinals to your backyard. Could you design a tiny home that made? I guess Alana would have the expertise, and then you could put the home together.
Hey, you tell me what to do, and I'm sure we could figure something out. You bet.
What do you think, Alana?
I'm very excited for this.
Yeah.
I will tell you, we can't get cardinals here, but let's go for those chickadees or swallows. It's fine. We can get them.
Yeah. Hey, what's a bird that, as we thank you for your time here, I was walking our dog last summer. I'll never forget it. Westmount area of Edmonton, right around 124th Street. I know my eyes did not deceive me. I saw a bald eagle, and it blew my mind. I had no idea bald eagles were in Edmonton. What's a bird species? We're talking about Alberta here. What's one species that people might be really surprised to hear is here, or might be surprised to hear that they could attract to their backyard? Do you have a favorite?
That's a good question. Oh, I mean, there's nearly 400 species of birds in Alberta, and I love them all. So it's really hard for me to choose one. In terms of birds you can attract, I think they're just most of the common ones. But I will tell you that there's a bird right now in Spruce Grove. It's called a great egret, and basically it's a great blue heron, but it's completely white. It's like the great blue heron lost all of its color. And it's not supposed to be here. It's like a species that you would find in Florida. And so basically he lost his path and made his way up to Spruce Grove for some reason.
You mean like there's one of them?
A single guy. Yeah, I don't know what he's doing here. He shouldn't be here. This is not his home. But he's here in a pond in Spruce Grove. And so people will flock from all over the place to see this great egret. We've been checking for the last few days, and he really only comes in the morning, and then I don't know where he buggers off to for the rest of the day.
Wow.
But he is absolutely stunning. A gigantic, like its wingspan is about 5 feet. And they're just pure white. So if you can imagine a heron, but all white.
Yeah, we're looking at a photo of one right now. This is a stunning animal.
Yeah, they're beautiful. So as you can see, like it's taken on a tropical background, like it's not supposed to be here. But somehow its migration compass got a little bit wicky wonky and it landed up here. And so bird watchers come from all over when a species like this appears. It's actually called twitching. When you follow birds, you're looking for rare species, and you'll kind of get up and drive wherever there is a rare species. My husband has driven all across Alberta when there's a bird. Oh, there's one in Medicine Hat actually this weekend. He's like, I'm driving down to Medicine Hat now because I have to go and see this bird.
Amazing.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
No, this is amazing.
I'm not that hardcore. I'm not that much of a twitcher. I just enjoy the ones that are, already in my backyard. But it's a huge, huge hobby, and it's so much fun. So I always like to tell people bird watching is something that, like, at some point in your life, you'll get into it. For me, it was, 22, the age of 22. For most people, they're retired when the birds hit them like a truck. But when they do, I'll be here for you.
Oh my gosh, I just love your passion. My face hurts from smiling. The audience is loving it on the live chat. We're all probably starting to think about our favorite species of birds, and we definitely all have to come check out your shop in Spruce Grove. Alana Tollenaar is owner-operator of Backyard Birds Nature Shop and the winner of the Young Entrepreneur Business Award of Distinction for 2024. Congratulations, and thanks for hanging out with us.
Thank you. It was an honor to be on the show today. Thanks
yeah, you got it. We love it. I just saw a comment from Jillian who says, "Alana, you queen." I love it. I saw Ayman. I saw you scribbling something down, some notes while she was talking. Do you mind if I put you on the spot and ask what jumped out at you when she was talking?
Well, when they were talking about tiny home for birds, the only thing on my mind is I will help you tow it to your destination.
Oh yes, there we go.
We have perfect equipment for that.
And then Kaley at Bird Creative can put together the marketing campaign for all of this, and so this will be the first Real Talk Roundtable that has resulted in an all-party collaboration on something, and this is all brought together by the Alberta Chambers of Commerce. Very well done, Shauna.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, maybe a tiny home bird festival somewhere in the province of Alberta.
Hey, here we go. The ideas are flowing. This is absolutely fantastic, and we love taking time. I mean, obviously, on shows like this, we talk about a lot of news and we talk about a lot of politics, and those are important subjects, and obviously politics factor into business and vice versa, but we love sometimes just taking these opportunities to sit down with, as we say, movers and shakers, the people that are making real impact in their industry, in their communities, and celebrating those, and grateful to the Alberta Chambers of Commerce for making that possible. I want to ask each of you, we always do this with our Friday roundtables, for just a closing remark, something to think about, give our audience something to chew on. Oftentimes we'll have a guest walk out and say, I wish I had had a chance to say that. For people that maybe young entrepreneurs, maybe entrepreneurs that are right now staring down a tough situation. Maybe they haven't seen the revenue they're used to, or maybe they've got problems with staff, or whatever it is. The journeys of an entrepreneur or a business owner operator can be an arduous one. Maybe a word of encouragement, however you choose to use your moment. Can I put you on the spot, Ayman, first?
Of course, yeah, you bet. Something comes to mind that everybody talks about, which is you got to be patient and to see your business grow. However, what you really need to keep in mind is you have to make absolutely sure that you are not working very hard and pushing yourself to do what you do. It is something that you enjoy and you have fun with it. If you work 40, 50, 60, some people 80 hours a week, if you are not having fun every single hour, it is such an incredible waste of life if you are not enjoying what you're doing. Having said that, this is great, but now the important piece I would like to leave all the young people who are listening to this, starting their career, with one word, remember it. It's called entropy. And that word is really, really significant when you're starting a new business. And it is the second law of thermodynamics. I'm not going to get into it. However, all I can tell you is always remember when you're building your business that the universe is against you. What I mean by that is everything requires arrangement and ordering is energy that the universe does not like to exert. The universe likes chaos, randomness. So when you are working to bring things together, to arrange, transform, and organize, this is unnatural energy. That's why the successful businesses that last more than 10 or 20 years are like 10%. So always remember that your effort will be rewarded if you love what you do and you're cognizant of the fact that things are really difficult to arrange and organize.
I absolutely love that. Thanks for that. Kevin.
Yeah, honestly, man, you nailed it. Like, if you don't love what you do, you will not survive. And that's, I just say that's a fact. Business will tell you real quick and over and over and over again if you're built for this or not. But I talked about getting out of bed in the morning, making that decision. I mean that. Like, if it's hard, if you find that you are having a hard time getting out of bed in the morning, and that comes day after day after day after day, that's a long, hard life. And I don't think that there's going to be success at the end of that. If you go through that hard stuff that inevitably comes with business, if you survive those close calls, if you gut it out, if you fix problems that feel unfixable, and the next morning you're ready to get out of bed and do it again, you know you're built for this. So listen to that, because you hear all these stats before you start business about how few entrepreneurs survive and how few businesses survive. And as a ignorant optimist, I say there's zero chance those are true. I was like, these are all lies somehow set to keep people from not doing this. And then you get into it and you're like, holy smokes, I can't believe anybody survives this. And I remember the moment, one of the hardest moments we've gone through as a business, and it was, I was exhausted and just beaten, and we got through this thing, and it was like this sense of relief almost. It's like, I don't hate this. It's like, I'm ready to keep going. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna be okay. This is what I was built for. And so find out if you're built for it, and get out soon if you're not.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's great advice. Shauna, a word to the audience from the president and CEO of the Alberta Chambers of Commerce.
Yeah, just, we're here to support business. So all of those challenges, any way that we can help, like I said, there's 108 local chambers across the province that are here to support the business community and ecosystem. And, going back to previous comments, just supporting advocacy work around how we can make Alberta the best place to do business in the continent, not just in Canada, but across North America and the world.
I love it. There are so many resources that are available online. Again, we'll direct people to abchamber.ca. You guys, the work that you do, helping folks with business resiliency, understanding the supply chain publishing network, the chamber market, your talent development task force, which we've spoken about on the show before. You can always go back, by the way, Real Talkers, to our highlights on our YouTube channel. Look for that section, the highlights, and you'll find the Eye on Alberta Business from each month with Shauna as we talk about timely issues and items oftentimes that are in the news cycle pertinent to entrepreneurs as well. And don't forget, if this roundtable has inspired you and you're thinking of an amazing business that deserves recognition, the 2025 Alberta Business Awards of Distinction will open for nominations in January of 25, and there's also sponsorship opportunities. You can contact the Chamber through their website. We want to give our thanks to Kaley Beisiegel, who joined us with Bird Creatives out of Calgary. Alana Tollenaar, just wait till we jump back in our live chat. There's like 150 comments on people talking about the favorite birds they see in Alberta. It's amazing. Alana, the owner-operator of Backyard Birds Nature Shop in Spruce Grove. Kevin Fritz, CEO and owner of Fritz Tiny Homes. Ayman Ammoura, President, CEO of the Driving Force Group of Companies, and of course our good friend Shauna Feth. Thanks to all of you, and have a wonderful long weekend.
Thanks for having us.
You bet. We welcome your stories as well to talk@ryanjesperson.com. We'd love to hear the secret sauce behind your business, or maybe a big challenge, or maybe a jurisdictional observation, whatever it is. However this landed with you, talk@ryanjesperson.com is where you can find us. This conversation was made possible with the support of our friends at Friesen Brothers, proudly Alberta grown and Alberta owned. Friesen Brothers has been serving Albertans for coming up on 70 years, a really unbelievable family legacy. You'll find them in 17 different Alberta communities. And it's Alberta Pork Month all the way through June. So we're heading into that last weekend. If you're looking to pick up maybe some baby back ribs for the barbecue, maybe some pork chops, a tenderloin, whatever it is, if you pick it up at your local Friesen Brothers and you're enrolled in their Smart Shopper program, you're going to automatically qualify to win a grill. That's right. They're giving away 17 grills, one at each location, through till the end of the month. You qualify by signing up for that Smart Shopper program at Friesen Brothers. Our friends at Kubi Renewable Energy are hiring right now in Calgary, in Lethbridge, in Edmonton, and in Kamloops. Their team is always growing because, more and more Canadians are going green. That's right. 'Tis the season for Kubi's installers to be up on the roofs of community halls and homes, barns, big warehouses, office towers, you name it. Kubi installs their solar energy solutions to power your life. Kubi Renewable Energy has a careers link at kubienergy.ca. And our friends at California Closets are reminding you that the perfect custom closet or storage solution is just one step away. That's a visit to their website, californiaclosets.ca, where you can request that free consultation. Their team of designers and installers will wow you with a budget-friendly, time-friendly, lifetime guaranteed installation that'll change your space forever. Again, that consultation's free at californiaclosets.ca. I love this in the live chat. Wise Kyle says he's seen Blue Jays and Stellar Jays. A lot of people are saying they've seen eagles. Sharon says she's seen eagles around here. Wasn't just me. Some folks are claiming they've seen Orioles. A lot of folks, blue herons at Blue Lake. There's nothing like the blue heron. That is a special, special bird. Travis says the red-winged blackbird has the best call. Cool. Have you ever seen that bird app, Johnny? Have you heard about this app you can get on your phone? You're like walking through nature and you hear a bird call that you don't recognize. And it's like Shazam for birds. It'll tell you what bird species
Pretty
it is.
cool, yeah.
Very cool stuff. Do you have a favorite bird?
Me?
Yeah.
The middle finger. No,
Perfect for the flamethrower coming right
because
up.
I'm excited for Bleeping Friday.
Yeah, buddy, yeah.
And we're taking a week off.
We
man.
are.
And I wanted to say, just, you've been working hard. You've been working really hard, but we nailed it during playoffs, during the Spittin Chiclets guys being here, during just legends coming through our doors.
Yeah.
And you deserve some much needed rest. So I hope you enjoy it.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah,
and you as well, DJing at the Moss Pit every single night, still joining us every single morning.
I'm going to sleep for 30 hours straight.
I said, this is not sustainable, John. This is not sustainable. If there, the only reason I'm glad playoffs is over is because you and I can take a breath, and the audience as well. So
well, like Ayman said, the world is
on.
chaos, right? So
Yeah,
we're just
I loved
riding
his,
that wave.
I loved his take on that.
It's so true.
You know, how
it was created from chaos,
Yeah.
and it continues, and you gotta try and rein it in. But when things go awry and things get out of your control, that's just the way of the world.
It's so true. You and I are going to try something different here, so we'll let you know next week. We're just taking the week off, so there won't be any episodes of Real Talk. Subscribe to our email. We're not wrapping the show yet. Don't worry, everybody. We've still got a tradition here. We've got a Sophie Grégoire Trudeau inspired edition of the Flamethrower coming up, presented by the DQs in Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park. But you can subscribe to our email for free. Just go to our website, ryanjesperson.com. Scroll down to the bottom of the page. The email will go out this weekend, highlighting some of the past shows, dishing the dirt on a couple of cool things that are going on, celebrating our Real Talk Golf Classic, which raised, by the way, $50,930 is the final total. So 51 grand raised for the Julie Rohr Scholarship on June 20th out at the Ranch Golf and Country Club. So thanks to everybody for that. And so, yeah, that email will go out next week. We're going to be away from the show, but it's a great chance for you to catch up on some episodes, and then we'll be back at it. And we're also going to try something different today as we look for different ways to tell stories and get our message out. If you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you'll see later today, we do have commentary on the presidential debate, and we will. Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
And we
was it a debate?
Dude.
Or was it?
Oh, my gosh. Well, our whole point was we weren't going to do the commentary now, except for, we might as well just say,
just a minute here. Can we just say that these guys both belong in a retirement home? This isn't ageism.
This is bad.
This is just.
No, that's realism.
Biden's trying to read. Trump can't find his thought. These two guys are going back and forth. It's like having tea with a couple retirees in a home who are just losing it.
Yeah, and my buddy
bad.
down in Michigan, Rich down in Michigan, he's a real talker. He sent me that it was at Ralph Wiggum, that gif where he's like, "I'm in trouble," and he said, and I said, "Yeah, I think you guys might be," but there's obviously nothing funny about it. But here's the point: we're going to release a YouTube short. It'll be an Instagram reel as well. It's kind of a different way that we're exploring and pushing out some content. So you'll see our commentary on the presidential debate later today on YouTube.
I know one part we're going to have to clip and just bring up because of the Real Talk. They started talking about golf.
Talking about his golf handicap.
And he's like, he's lying about his handicap. Actually, I do a 6, I had 8, and then I was like, Ryan is loving this.
Oh,
right
I was loving it, but not loving it. Do you know what I mean? It's like loving it when when you see something like, I'm trying to think. I don't want to make light of this, but do you remember you see flooding, and then you see there's like a bridge, and then there's a house being carried away by a river, and you can't wait to see what it looks like when a house gets just demolished by a bridge. But that's someone's house.
I'm in danger.
It's fascinating, but it's terrible. And so that's my take on the presidential debate, is that this is an absolute nightmare. We'll be talking about that more when we're back. Obviously, it's the earliest presidential debate in American history, with a lot of runway still to go till the election in November. How about Wyatt Sharp joining us live from Atlanta outside the CNN studio on our June 27th episode? The guy just continues to impress us.
I can't wait to hear what he thought of that, because he's so sharp. And these two guys, I mean, as I'm watching it, I'm thinking, if these guys can't keep it together for an hour, what are they doing in the Oval Office, 18 hours a day trying to run the free world. It's really scary.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I love how I'm just like, moving on, so I don't have a panic
Anyways,
attack. So I don't have a panic
it's the
attack.
weekend.
Yeah. Shout out to Travis, who's dropped $10 into our YouTube super chat. Says buy some beers next week, Jespo and Johnny. Appreciate that, Travis. Travis is just being nice because he knows that he's cracked the roster for the Flamethrower, and he just goes up one side of me and down the other. Travis, I'm saying that in love, and he sends his email in love too. But let's get to it, Johnny. This is how we wrap up our podcasting week every week on YouTube as well, courtesy of the DQs of Northwest Edmonton and Sherwood Park. We ask you to give us your hot takes, to fire up your flamethrowers, and that's exactly what you've done, inspired by our interview with Sophie Grégoire Trudeau about her brand new book. If you didn't catch the episode, I encourage you to do so this week. I actually thought it was a great conversation. Not everybody agrees, including Robyn, who says Sophie Grégoire Trudeau's comments on ADHD made me rage. ADHD is being diagnosed more frequently now, but devices, screen time doesn't cause ADHD. Okay, whether a person's living their life surrounded by electronics or practicing yoga in a field of wildflowers their entire day, they could still have ADHD. Devices are just seen as a problem because ADHD brains love to be rewarded with dopamine, and electronics activate that brain. You know what else releases dopamine? Exercise. But electronics are viewed as problematic when it's the reduction of physical activity and the resulting increase in negative ADHD symptoms that's caused more parents and individuals to seek a diagnosis. She says, I'm a mom that was diagnosed with ADHD later in life, holds a master's degree focused on ADHD, and has a daughter with ADHD. So for my last point of frustration, it ticks me off when people like Ms. Grégoire Trudeau praise people like Gabor Mate who continually link trauma to ADHD. I didn't develop ADHD from trauma, neither did my kid. And by applauding those who correlate the two, Ms. Grégoire Trudeau is preventing people from speaking up about ADHD because they fear they'll be judged. And then Robyn makes a guest suggestion, and Robyn, we've already followed up on it, so thanks for that. How about this one from Sara, who says, I just wanted to write a short note regarding Ms. Grégoire Trudeau's perspective on ADHD. Or connection between screen time is based on inconclusive evidence. While there may be a correlation with excessive screen time in the development of ADHD, there's no research that proves causation, right? If you're a working parent with a child who seemingly required endless amounts of stimulation, even after a bike ride, trip to the playground, soccer game, wrestling match on the floor, the kid was still buzzing about, wouldn't you be more likely to pop on the TV versus a parent who has a child that goes to color in the corner, right? Parents of kids with ADHD, says Sara, deal with an inordinate amount of stigma around their parenting choices. Comments are incessantly made about how much access to electronics they give their kids, how much time they spend with their kids outside, and what food they're feeding their kids. Nobody seems to think it's important to mention this disorder is highly heritable, with some studies citing rates as high as a 90% chance of passing it on to your kid if you also have it. Does that sound like it's caused by sitting with the iPad? She says, by all means, limit access to electronics for your family. We know there's negative effects there, but please don't attribute cause of ADHD that have yet to be definitively proven by research. She says, by the way, I listened to every episode and I've learned so much. That from Sara. Thank you, Sara. What about this one from Travis? Here it is. Travis says, Jespo, having witnessed the alarming proliferation of health disinformation over the past few years, I've become very discouraged, bitter, and angry. And when Sophie appeared on your show, speaking authoritatively on a number of health issues, it really struck a nerve. He says, Ms. Grégoire Trudeau is a former TV host with a degree in communications, a former partner to the sitting prime minister, and not a mental health professional, fertility expert, or ADHD researcher. Travis says, I found it disappointing that you chose to platform her and let her speak authoritatively on these matters for a number of reasons. Number one, she's not a trained expert recognized by any professional college and doesn't retain any certification from any recognized institution in any of the fields. Number two, as a result of platforming such an individual, you, Ryan, are responsible for whatever information she shares being spread widely and quickly. And because she's not an expert, she'll share actively false, harmful, and context-devoid information, and that's a big problem. And number three, Ryan, you're shirking of responsibility. Well, it's a talk show. People talk. He says, I wish I was able to wash my hands like that. A handy little escape hatch available at any time. He says, I guess I just really wanted you to be better now that you're free from corporate terrestrial radio. He then says, I'm sorry if this came across as harsh, and on an unrelated note, have a great weekend off. Well, Travis, it's called the Flamethrower, and we don't mind. We ask for it, we receive it. And this one from Karen, who's a raging granny who happened to catch our episode with the the Spittin Chiclets. And she says the conversation around major junior hockey, Jespo, college hockey, there were comments made on these guys going on end-of-the-year trips and trying to get laid and going to American colleges on a full-ride scholarship and that being 4 years of drinking and partying and girls. And after the Hockey Canada scandal and the sexual assault charges against those players, you'd think that attitudes would shift. I mean, Jespo, you said these podcasters have millions of downloads. I'm sure that rising young hockey stars among them, and this is, what they're being told to expect. College hockey should be about playing hockey, getting an education, not getting wasted and getting laid. The boys will be boys. Entitled attitude will never change unless the people they look up to, coaches, parents, and podcasters, change the conversation. From Karen, a raging granny. We appreciate every single submission to the Flamethrower to talk at RyanJesperson.com. Proudly presented every week on Real Talk by the DQs in Palisades, Nemeo, Newcastle, Westmount, and Baseline Road. We're going to be back at it on Monday, July 8th, and we'll see you then.
Real Talk is hosted by Ryan Jesperson, executive producer Josh Dunford, technical producer John Hicks, general manager Katie Cook-Chivers, account coordinator Lawrence Derlego, human resources Lena Shepard, website design Mike Johnston, voiceover by me, Carrie Skelton. Real Talk's editorial board is Supriya Dwivedi, Ahmed Ali, Brandy Morin, Ann Castleman, Corey Hogan, Harmon Candola, Catherine O'Neill, and Chris Henderson. Member Emerita, Julie Rohr. Real Talk is recorded in Edmonton, Alberta on Treaty 6 territory, the traditional and ancestral territory of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, and Nakota Sioux, home to the Métis settlements and the Métis Nation of Alberta. Real Talk is a relay project. For more, check out RyanJesperson.com.